Hello everyone, welcome to our Starter Deck Plus guide. Spencer and I will talk you through all three starter decks and what should be some easy and quick ways to upgrade them for your local play events. Today we'll be going over our final starter deck with the Sapphire Steel. So let's check it out. Alright everyone, checking out today with my personal favorite of the starter decks with Sapphire and Steel. As you can... you, you don't like my personal favorite?
No, I'm so tired of this deck, man.
Because it's so good, right?
I just kept getting given it for all the starter deck challenges, and I'm probably gonna have to pick it up for my LGS's starter deck event because it's the only one I don't have two of, so I'm gonna have to play it again.
Yeah. But onto the deck list, as you can see here, the main goal of this deck is to ramp up into your big stuff and just overwhelm your opponent with all these huge lore questers. You got your ramp package with Grandma Tala, Mickey Mouse Detective, and One Jump Ahead. And then basically you just get into your big cards like Maleficent Uninvited, Mufasa, Maui, just to name those big three lore questers, which are just huge.
For sure.
And then you got some other fun stuff, especially with your one of your face cards, Aurora, Dreaming Guardian, giving everything ward, so everything that your opponent does, mainly they have to challenge your big guys and they can't use their removal cards for them, which makes it super annoying. And then you have some kind of techish cards with your beast breaking items, and then big Simba that has the conditional evasive and challenger and stuff like that, so you can have an option to counter your opponent's evasives.
Yeah, and just like with all the starter decks, the biggest issue is just consistency. You kind of got your ramp package, but it's not super reliable. And then you've got your things that you want to ramp into, but you don't have a lot of them, so once again, not reliable. And then you just kind of have like some random stuff thrown in, like magic golden flowers and Ransacs and things that
frying
just
pans.
Yeah, frying pans. As much as I love coconuts, they're just not really good for this particular deck. It can use a little bit of focus, and going into the double starter, you're really able to focus in on what it is that you want to do with this deck, which is the ramp, which actually makes it a really good starter in terms of doing the double setup, because it's going to get you a fairly decent deck just by smashing two of these together.
Especially with all the ramp cards, you're going to have your full play set of all of them with just the two decks. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just so you got all 12 cards in the double starter deck. And then you also have two Razor Swords for your removal, which is pretty awesome. And you have those big characters that can just sing it for free for you.
Yeah, if that's really necessary. You get a lot of... Yeah, it really hones in. Like you said, you're able to bump up all of your ramp packages to 4, making it where you're really, really likely to get them early game and get that ramp going when you need it. You've got a couple develop your brains in order to make sure that you're stacking your deck in such a way that you're getting what you need to when you need it. A couple of low cost cards just to help, with the hook and the flounder in order to keep your opponent from running away with the board, and the fire of the cannons to remove some annoying stuff. You still got some, and then you've just got a whole bunch of lore generating stuff that's on curve. So you've got your 3 cost Jasmine, generating 2 lore, 4 cost Maleficent, generating 2 lore. You've got your 2 Aurora Dreaming Guardians now, which gives you a lot higher chance of getting it when you need it. And then we get into the actual like big ramp package. So you've got your Maleficent Uninvited. That 5 cost 3 lore is nuts. Mufasa, same thing. You got 4 of them now, so you can really count on drawing him. And then, your top end, you've got 2 Mauis now, so much better chance of getting him on the board. 2 Simbas in order to help deal with those evasives, as well as just, being a chunky 2 lore character on his own. And 2 Scars, once again, good stats, 2 lore, and that combat trick can come in handy here and there as well. So it really, sticking the 2 together really allowed you to focus in on that ramp package and gives you that consistency you need to be able to generate your ramp early and find cards to ramp into later on.
Yeah. The only thing it still lacks is the card draw, which basically you're what you got to deal with unless you're familiar with this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Steel does have quote unquote the best card draw.
Yeah, just not in
single card. Yeah, single card in the game, which we'll see put into play in the constructed version of the deck that we'll look at here in a second.
All right, seconds up. Let's look at
it. Fair enough.
Fair enough. This is probably one of the more expensive ones. As I see, we have 4 copies of the Legendary Bell.
A bunch more super rares, yeah.
A bunch more super rares in this list, but all of them are quite worth it investing into because they are all pretty awesome cards. Bell just working with the ramp package so well. Being able to have a 5 lore quester is just insane. A quarter of your win condition just boop right there.
Yep. 100%. Some things about this deck is, right now we've got the 3 Robin Hoods in here, and the 3, which is a super rare. I know it's showing as a D23 version in here for some reason, but it's a really good card because it's got that conditional evasive and the potential to draw you a card. If he's hard to get a hold of for you, you can totally use those Maleficent Uninviteds to replace that card. It's cheaper, or even the Mufasas. It generates you more lore, has better stats. You've already got the Simba Return Kings in order to help deal with evasive characters. So it's not super necessary, and that can be something you can put in order to make the deck a little bit cheaper and easier to build. We've still got, we're running our Flounders. We've got some Simbas as a 1 cost just for some filtering. And one of the big things that this deck is added in is the quote-unquote Tinker Bomb package. And so that is the Baby Tinkerbell and the Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. And so what that is going to do is really give you the ability to control the board and prevent your opponent from building up too much while you're ramping up into your Bell, which is really your win con here. We've added in some draw support in order to make things more consistent. So we've got a couple of beast mirrors, as well as some whole new worlds. The beast mirrors are going to be cheap; they're commons. Whole new worlds are going to be a very, very popular super rare, so they might be a little bit harder to get your hands on. But it's such a good draw card that you're probably going to want them. The Fishbone Quills here at rare, I'm not super sold on this particular card. I don't really think it's necessary with the amount of ramp that's already in the deck itself between the Grandmas, the Mickey, the One Jumps, and the Bell. And there's not really a ton of low value inkless cards or uninkable cards that you're going to want to be ditching with that card anyways. So I think that you can take that out for, something else if you really want to, maybe adding in once again those Maleficent Uninviteds in order to really help you out with your Lord Generation and that rampy curve that we're talking about.
Yeah.
To really add even more pressure from this deck. But between the Tinkerbell and the Grab Your Swords, you've got a lot of control. Along with the Robin Hoods and Simbas to help deal with those evasives. So I think adding in a high lore win con outside of Bell is going to be a good idea for this particular deck.
Yeah, because once they see those spells, your opponent is going to want to get rid of them as soon as possible. So having that backup plan of, especially something with like a high willpower or something that'll be a bit tougher to get rid of and still generate a lot more lore than most other cards that your opponent may have will definitely help.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, like I'd be comfortable dropping down the Simba Returned Kings from 3 to 2, Robin Hood down to 2, and dropping these Fishbone Quills, and that just gives you the chance to add in those Mufasas and Maleficent Uninviteds, and just really have a really nice curve that's going to pressure your opponent throughout the game.
All right, this has been our Starter Deck Plus guide series. We hope you all enjoyed. If there are any further suggestions or ideas that you guys want to share in the comments, be sure to leave them down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stick around for our podcast. And we will see you all in the next video.